Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to match 3 of the North America Challenger League Open qualifiers, and this is the 5th qualifier, so this is the last one that these teams can go to get all the points that they need to get into the closed qualifier. But first, a little bit of housekeeping to get out of the way. I am Intrinsic, of course, and tonight I am joined by Cash, and then we do have a observer who I'm going to let Cash say the name of because he is just the best. So why don't you go ahead and tell us a bit.
We have our man Sayano, who's been here doing just an excellent job overall spectating for us and showing us a scoreboard whenever applicable. So huge shout out to him and thank you for enduring all this time.
Yeah, and we will be going to Coastline, so apparently it's the wrong map. We were told Coastline. We'll see how this goes. Just give us a second while we figure this out. Columbus might be trolling. Now Layman agrees. We might be going right into a rehost, which will be great. But let's see how it is. We were told Coastline, so we'll just have to clear that up really quick. So it might not be Coastline, but until we get there, I'm not quite sure what's going on. Well, no one's calling for a rehost.
Yeah, that's why you don't make too many jokes with the... well, hold on.
We're trying to figure this one out. Maybe we're playing it. Well, until they say otherwise, we will be playing Coastline. So tell us a bit about Coastline.
Coastline, very vertical oriented map. It's got a giant hole in it, given the fact that so attackers can play as much vertical as they want from the ease of rooftop access. It'll be watching 2 parallel hallways leading to the second floors or rooms on the second floor of the map, along with a drop down area that kind of plays as the courtyard, as it's referred to. Traditional sites you'll see are going to be hookah and billiards. Is the first one up, as it is considered one of the easiest to defend. At least a lot of angles you can play off, a lot of utility you can use, a lot of plant denial is very accessible here. But vertical is name of the game on this map, especially as you have ruins watching into the map all the way from spawn. You have rooftop and lots of hop outs.
Yeah, and we have been confirmed that it is Coastline. We were just being trolled, which happens from time to time, especially to me. But we will be getting right into this match, and the first thing we'll be going to is Hookah. So why don't you tell us a bit about Hookah, because it is one of the more primary sites that we see, so it's not too surprising that we're going there immediately.
Absolutely. So the way you play hookah is the way that you play in general. It speaks volumes about just the kind of style that teams stick to and whatnot. So speaking of vertical play, a lot of times you'll see nitros pre-placed underneath, or an attacker, defender rather, rotating on downstairs, pre-placing a nitro, or trying to deny the plant as it's going off, or late phase execution. So the biggest thing that you need to be wary of, especially if you don't know too much, is that a lot of this round can be played outside and not even attempting to touch said site. So you have ruins out by spawn, you've got balconies, you've got rooftop, a lot of different angles defenders must be very careful on to not be just easily pot shotted out of the round. Usually you see a castle, you always see a Jaeger or Wamai once that operator is introduced into the scene. Mute Mozzie combo, very strong in the current meta, as it acts as different forms of jammers and can take over a drone. Just an ultimate preventative measure from a lot of information being relayed for attackers.
Yeah, and I do want to kind of speak to the Mute Mozzie combo, just because it is a really big factor into a lot of these rounds, just due to the fact that, as we spoke to a little bit last map, Intel is such a huge part of Siege.
Absolutely. I mean, having the mute jammers jam drones, that is effectively going to eradicate any form of intelligence that they are able to relay between one another, in order to effectively communicate and come across one another. And having the pest from Mozzie being able to take over drones, that's just a huge opportunity for them, as that's nothing but intelligence that you're able to gather from it and then play around, knowing more. But map establishment pretty decent already. So we have Attackers pushing VIP circle desk as prompt as Zofia already pushing on into bookcase corner. We do see Mex all the way downstairs playing courtyard blue bar area. This is going to be most likely for the Nitro that we spoke about previously. Lei getting a double tap there. I think it was just a one tap onto Levron. That's the Mozzie going to fall. Not a lot of utility, but that is a Nitro cell no longer on the board.
Anthony now getting a pick onto Benji will be equal at a 4-4 man count. Coming into the last half of this round, it's just going to be a rush as a flurry of kills coming out from both teams. Layman getting one on the Thermite, or Thumbus rather, as Flack able to get another one, but it's going to be prompted to continue the frag fest as he's going to get one onto Jay. And as Layman secures the pick onto Mex, we'll be going into round 2 with Ōkami up by 1 round.
That was overall just a squeeze and eradicate, I think, on site there. Get them in deep as corners as humanly possible, force them to watch crosses so they can't watch the actual entryways into site, and then punish as much as humanly possible. I think that was really well played by the attackers there, but especially with the Candela coming out in the middle of the hallway, forcing defenders to look away from the actual gadget itself. For those who might not know, Ying's gadget is referred to as Candela. It's just a flashbang that goes off repeatedly, and it's looking like looking into 1,000 suns. So very hard to stick to, and we see Ying 6-pick to the fuse. Do you have any comments on that one, Int?
Well, I mean, we don't normally see him, but when we do have Castle played, he can be a very useful operator. But as you can obviously at the top right of your screen, we do not have a Castle on board. But what we do have is a Jaeger, and what Fuse is really good for is shooting out a lot of projectiles that Jaeger's ADSs will pick up. If you are familiar, if you're a little bit more mature in your Siege age, you might remember when Hibana pellets were picked up by the ADS, and what they would do is they would just shoot one of the Hibana charges towards where they would expect a lot of the ADSs to be, and since ADSs only catch 2 or 3, that is a potential of 2 ADSs just off the board. So that could be what their thought process is here, but considering the destructibility of the fuse charges, it is kind of an interesting pick, and it's not like you choose him for his gun.
Absolutely, and I do also want to notate that there is a Warden on the lineup of defenders as of right now. Not too commonly picked, and a Warden using an SMG-12. That the first cluster charges will go on out. I think it's just a lot of utility being destroyed by such. No more barbed wire, and at least in that area, that's going to help for if they try to go for the rush plant again. Mex, however, will pick up the first elimination of the round, and that's the Hibana that will fall. Kilo no longer in the round. Thumb is looking to get another elimination from Rooftop. Not gonna see any. That's gonna be a square top. But prompted pushing once again on into VIP, running on over to bookcase, opening up into penthouse as Mex will rotate on over to not be an elimination.
Yeah, and with a minute down of the round, we will be at a man advantage for the defense, which is something that you do want to see if you're just playing it off. But ooh, he is so close to getting a pick now. The Ash versus the Jaeger, the two brainless fraggers, and it's going to be a gunfight, but Benji is able to win it out against Thumbus. Thumbus just unable to secure the shots that he needs, and Anthony able to get the pick onto the Ash, which means he is going to avenge his fallen brother. So it isn't going to be too bad, and the man advantage is still going to be in the favor of Bruh.
Absolutely. Flack will move on to Aqua Balcony here, trying to resuscitate what is left of the round. Now, each remaining operator is sitting at 100 HP, so this is going to give them room to take one-on-one engagements, see if they can win out their gunfights. But Levron currently sitting at a pretty powerful position as he's behind a reinforcement, behind 2 of which. So one will be watching from his 90 hallway, and another will be watching from Billiard site itself. The concussion will go off. That's going to signify that Smoke is sitting at base as Levron gets an excellent wall bang onto prompted, and it's just going to force the 2 remaining attackers to push on into the site. Now that's Anthony's going to take out Flack. It is all up to Layman, who is the fuse. The fuser is not currently in his possession, and as we approach the last 42 seconds of the round, this is huge in the form of recovery. He's got 4 bodies to make up right now.
I think he's just going to be going for frags now. Very little chances of winning this, as he is going to be contested by every single member of or rather from Bra at this point. One playing base right now. Almost gets fragged, but peeking out a little too long is going to cost almost all of his HP now that he still has 4 players with pretty much 100 HP on all of them. He's going to swing out and isn't going to get a pick as Bra able to secure the second round in a pretty dominant fashion.
Absolutely. Look to be, again, not a whole lot of communication being spoken to one another on the attacking side. A lot of just faulty coordination. You didn't see any plays that made you think methodical was what they were going for at the end portion of that round. So I don't know if they were just falling apart from not being able to roam clear effectively, but if defenders can punish that, kind of theme of the round thus far, then you have a 4-man advantage closing out a fuse at 90.
The fuse. Picked again.
Fuse.
Not once, but twice now. At first I thought maybe it was just a mistake. You couldn't 6-pick off of it. Maybe it was just an auto pick. But now
that's irrational.
They've picked it twice, and while it didn't seem very successful the first time, it was probably just used for the utility, and he's going to be brought again. So maybe they know something that we don't. Maybe it's 2,000 IQ using the fuse, but I'm not quite sold on it yet, and we'll just have to see how this round plays out because last time they did lose. So hopefully they're able to secure it a little bit better this time. This time we'll be going to Double Bar, which is a site that you either love or hate, and considering the fact that Bra went to it above the kitchen site, which is most notably the default or secondary default site that most teams go to, it's going to be pretty interesting to see that they've opted to go for a double bar hold as opposed to the kitchen hold.
Absolutely. This is where vertical plays are absolutely going to come into advantage, or just being as depth with your horizontal plays as humanly possible. So we may see bodies playing up in hookah, billiards, aquarium, holding up office hatch, really trying to prevent a just strong rush or a lot of map dominance very early on into the round. Mech's holding an interesting angle that it might be one that's punished very early on, but we already see attackers rappelling up to aquarium. This signifies that they're going to be trying to go from a top-down sweep here.
And I believe the IQ rather has an LMG, which is not the usual weapon. Yeah, he does. Not the usual weapon for IQ, but we have seen it gain a little bit of popularity ever since it got the angled grip because it does have a pretty good ADS, pretty good recoil, as well as a decent rate of fire. So overall, a pretty solid weapon is now Mevron? Yaveron? How do you pronounce that?
I said Lebron.
Lebron? Because like the double L is like ya in Spanish, so I'm not sure. It's a crazy world we live in. We'll go with Yaveron. It's a crazy world we live in. I'm sure the chat will correct us as soon as this is live. But now it is going to be death from above as the fuse is just going to be shooting down all of his explosives, burning out all of the ADS. Is a C4 coming down or a breach charge from the top? So very interesting. A lot of explosions going off in a very rapid pace with half the round left. They do have to do something now. As another cluster charge goes off, and it's now going to be Ash of Benji trying to contest these cool vibe stairs, but being caught by the Legion, meaning he's going to have to go right on up and pull it out of his foot. Benji at the HP disadvantage in this gunfight, but at this point you're at a man disadvantage, so you have to do something. It's now or never. With a minute left in this round, they have to make a move.
Absolutely. Benji gonna continue to try to contest here. Will get the kill onto Yajay, and that's the smoke that's gonna fall. No longer our Booty's gonna be able to use his plant denial as we approach the last portion of the round. It's 48 seconds left. Prompted looking to get into sight here, pushing on into Sunrise. Vertical hold is looking really good from attackers right now. They've got a lot across the setup. Diffuser just needs to go down. Now Legion is on a long flank here in luggage hallway. This could be enough to prevent the vertical play from being strong enough to close out the round. With 27 seconds left, we're not seeing the diffuser timer just yet, and a swing wide prompted will punish. It is now a body disadvantage and is up to the vertical players on the attacking side. With 15 seconds left of the round, they do not have diffuser. They're going to be scrambling for either kills or recovering a play. Benji will pick up another body. Mex will punish prompted, and it's all up to Benji as he picks up another one. It's a 1v1, and Bra will close out the round.
That is unfortunate. You really hope to see these Cinderella plays, the clutch from way in from underneath the underdog story, but it isn't going to happen now as the Ash unable to secure all three as he is only able to get two, which means Brett is going to be staying at a round advantage on the defensive half of Coastline, which a map that is very volatile depending on the bands, depending on the teams that are playing in terms of whether or not it's defensive sided or not, which with most maps being defensive sided, I don't know why defensor is like my go-to mess up word, but defensive sided meaning that the defenders are normally in a really solid spot, but Coastline's not really like that. Coastline's one of those maps where it's really back and forth. So I'm really interested to see whether or not Ōkami is able to come back and bring to Bra what they need to in order to get the win. We won't see the cluster charges coming out. We will see the EE1D of Lion. And tell us a bit about Lion and his very turbulent past.
So, Lion has been banned from Pro League, I believe, on 2 occasions, and well, his utility is a drone that is in the sky, and when used or when put into action, it scans the whole entire map, and if you get caught moving, will portray your location as if you were being jackal scanned. So the ping's on top, same way if you were to be droned out and scanned, all the same kind of red markings above your head. It's for a very quick succession, but will quickly relay as to your positioning to the attackers.
Yeah, and as we get into the action phase, we will see the Mozzie of Mech getting a little aggressive on the VIP Balk. I think he's actually just prone outside trying to get a spawn peek, but it doesn't appear to be working in his favor, as he might actually catch out Kilo, who is going to be rotating as he spawned pool. I'm not quite sure what his plan is at this point. I'm not sure if he's actually detected. If not, this is actually a really interesting angle to be at, just due to the fact that you're able to basically be outside without being outside. So enough on that, as we will be switching over to Benji. Trying to entry into this top floor, clearing from top to bottom is a pretty standard take at this point, so it's not going to be too crazy. But with the 2 roamers, they are going to have to put a lot of work in order to secure this top floor.
Yep, and you already see the flexibility coming on out from the attackers as they're going to be moving on from balconies onto rooftops. But an excellent shot from Benji will eliminate Thumbus. That's going to be the Jaeger, no longer in play now. Not a huge amount of items being lost from that kill, but still, that is one of your death roamers. That's your support from 90. That's your support from Billiards. That there's no longer, a defender that you can like help triangulate where you are currently holding at the time. And Max maybe a little bit too aggressive there, as he would like to be outside earlier in that same almost position. Will get punished. Benji picking up a second for the round. That's now the Pulse. That is all up to Doc and Smoke, who are currently on site as of right now. Everything looking quite well for attackers, as they have all the map establishment and time in the world that they need to get things going.
But Anthony has been doing very well on this dock, but he is going to be Zofed out, so they know exactly where he is. He's going to be playing main stairs. But with the camera utility, he can rotate off without necessarily losing everything. But as he is going to get into a bit of a scuffle with the Lion, but neither player really hitting their shots, both of them being at 100 HP still, as the gas cannoneer is coming out just to counter the push coming in from the kitchen window, but that isn't quite where it is going to be, as the vertical play is starting to be opened up from Ōkami, and he's going to get one pick onto Flak. That is not necessarily the greatest player to lose, especially considering the fact that he was carrying the diffuser. But if you can recover the diffuser, you're in a pretty solid spot still, especially with the Lion, as it seems like Prompt is just going to hop in to go for the guns, as he actually did pick up the diffuser. I totally missed that, and I believe he actually sees the back of a player there, Jay not actually being able to pick up, and he's going to be pot shotted at, as Jay able to get a pick onto Benji, leaving it in a 2v3 now, all to do for the defenders with the diffuser down. But all the attackers have to do at this point is play passive, play vertical and play passive. And if they're able to complete that to its full potential, then they will pretty easily win this round. As Jay able to get another frag onto Layman, and that'll equal the man count and the HP now in the favor of the defense.
Absolutely. One shot will effectively take out the Bana here. They're going for the diffuser. Stops is going to be a fake. Prompted will pick up another for the round, and Kilo will close us out.
Kilo is just on fire with these hop outs. He was able to get the Mozzie earlier in the round, and the Doc as well, covering his fellow teammate from the hop out of Doc. Anthony, who's been on a heater so far this match, is just going to be instantly shut down the second he jumps out of that window, unable to secure the frag. Meaning we'll be at an even round count now as we go into the hookah billiard side again. But as we look at our lineup, we do see Benji doing very well with 6 frags. His closest counterpart on Bruh is Anthony with 5, although we do see Thumbus with not doing a whole lot in terms of the frag game, especially a player playing Jaeger, which is somebody you want to see fragging, as opposed to what we see on Ōkami, where we see very equal numbers between all of the teammates. What do you make of that and how it's affecting this match?
Losing Jaeger very early on has very much so shown the fact that it is a key variable in the equation of holding your vertical plays, especially in that last round where not having someone on the complete parallel side of the map as you, being able to have some fluidity in position, try to help you recover, or persist a push, if you will, and losing that body early on is an immense factor that's playing into the attacker's success.
Yeah, and we are going to see the action phase now with a lot of the wall opened up between sites, which is something that we do see happen quite a bit, just due to the fact that most players consider hookah to be the more safe site to be sitting in, as opposed to billiards, as it is going to be Flack who has taken quite a bit of damage early in the round. I'm not quite sure where that came from. It might have been Mex who was running underneath, which is pretty interesting because as a player with the C4, you'd want to play a little more reserved, playing underneath an office, but it doesn't seem like that's the game plan from Bruh, as they are just going to be trying to get an early frag now.
Absolutely. We see bodies on over in the penthouse area. Jaeger's over in theater. The smart way to do things right now, unless you're planning on rushing site, is to effectively roam clear them out and force a return while you may have people watching crosses or their rotates, say, through Aquarium Hall and whatnot. So that's 2 bodies in the same kind of vicinity. We do see an attacker on DJ booth droning on through, seeing if they, any easy picks can be taken as of right now. Flack's going to be calling out the position of enemy equipment, and you hear the first fireball go out, so it looks to be as the Capitan IQ are kind of playing with one another, as Lebron could not be deeper in that corner behind the actual bomb itself.
I'm actually interested to see whether or not, like, when the Warden has his glasses activated, whether or not the IQ can see him. But it is going to be Anthony healing up the Warden now, so it's going to be 100 HP pretty much on all of the players on the side of Bruh, which is giving them a slight advantage over the Ōkami attack, as it is Flack who took a little bit of damage earlier in the round, but it is going to be Yeveron getting a little bit aggressive, but it's going to be Kilo actually to get the first pick onto Mex, and that'll be the Valkyrie off the board. He is almost able to get the second one, and he does. That is a double kill for Kilo. That is the second time in a row thus far that he's been able to do that. But as a flurry of kills come out on the site, he's going to get not one, but 2. Benji going huge now. It's going to be all up to Jay, trying to get all of his utility out, but it's not going to be enough as Layman able to shut him down.
Same kind of aggression we saw from the first round in this map so far, and it was very much so squeeze them onto site and then go in and punish as much as humanly possible. It was a lot of crosses being held. It was a lot of angles, supporting one another on your secondary eliminations or your refrags, and it just did not fan out in the Fender's favor, as really you see these flurry of bodies on into site and nothing but a kill feed following afterwards. So there is a variable that plays a role in that on the defender. Someone's not giving a call out. The cameras aren't there. There's not enough trap operators, such as goo mines, aren't being placed in advantageous positions. It really speaks as to some form of correction needs to occur to prevent this from continuing to happen.
Yeah, and I did get confirmation from our wonderful observer, Sayano, who said that Warden is seeable by IQ, or viewable by IQ, if he does have the glasses initiated. So it's going to be very interesting to see how exactly that battle plays out in the future with these meta operators with or Pulse and IQ, for instance, where they can see each other. So it's like, I can see you, you can see me, but you don't know if I can see you or not. So it is going to be a little bit interesting to see whether or not Warden kind of fills into that role as well with IQ as two operators on the opposite side of the attack defense spectrum that are very close in utility with each other.
Absolutely, we do see re-engagement of verticality here as two operators are sitting on cool vibe stairs, holding hookah area, and again, Benji returning to the rooftop, seeing if square here will be a punishment or a present, holding the angles and the rotations of defenders, trying to go up and down between floors of the map. We saw Leveron is on main stairs. Kind of an interesting place for Legion, to be honest. Goo mines in that area aren't going to do as much as they would, say, on site. So I don't know if he's going to be just playing for time and then going to be waiting for the Goo mines to kind of go through their cycling, or just using all Goo mines upstairs to hold them off as much as, or as long as they can, rather.
But as Flack getting a really good drone under the Legion, the drone is actually going to get away too, so that's huge to gather the intel and escape with your utility. Very well done by Flack, as he is able to do what I just said, secure his utility. It's going to be prompted now to drone out towards Cool Vibe, so they've pretty much successfully cleared the top floor. It's going to be the Legion being the only player actually being aggressive enough to try to contest the upstairs, as opposed to Jay, who is just trying to play underneath to get a little bit of a cheeky pick on anybody trying to get too aggressive on a Cool Vibes. This Benji now opening up vertically into the site. Isn't going to find anybody, but it is a really good thought, if you ask me.
Absolutely. Rotating on over to Aquarium Balcony. Really just trying to look for as many angles and as intriguing positioning as possible. Trying to prevent main stairs from being the make or break flank for defenders at this moment, but it'll be Anthony that pick up the first elimination of the round. As prompt will fall. That Sophia concussion and soft breaching capabilities are now off the board, as the only one who will have flashbangs actually will still be Benji and Habana, but the Sophia concussions will actually display the area which defender is in, as they do go off if you hit them, hit around them. We do see Kilo droning on into sight, jumping over very swiftly a mute jammer. 2 kills will go back and back. Mex will take out Layman, and Flack will take out Mex. So good refrag there. It is now a one-body advantage for defenders with 30 seconds left.
And that's Kilo getting a little bit ballsy onto this doorway. Flack's going to be running into the smoke. Is going to get down. Jade able to secure the frag. And it's going to be Thumbus to add on for a second. So it's going to be all up to Kilo now, who we have seen do very well, but isn't able to secure the frag onto the player in Courtyard, as it's going to be the Legion who is going to be countering him. A ACOG versus a 1X, which is not something we see one in favor of the 1X site very often, but Legion able to make it work for him, so all the power to him.
Absolutely, an excellent shot there. I feel like we saw a more strategic hold overall. There was bodies being flexible with where they're actually situating themselves, and then moving when the actual progression to site was visible that the attackers were going for. Their intentions that late into the round are very clear, and you need to be able to resuscitate what you're doing at that time in order to prevent a hold from, or an execute from, going on down. And not once did we see the diffuse timer go on up green. So very much so displays the fact that they did their job.
Yeah, and as we enter now into the flipped half, as Ōkami now going to be defending, we will be able to determine now whether or not this this coastline is going to be attacker or defended side, or even as Benji top fragging now for Ōkami with 8 frags, and followed very closely behind by Anthony, which is something that we've seen throughout this match, is Anthony unable to catch up with the success that Benji has been having, but Layman with 4 is, I'd say, a little more evenly split on the side of Ōkami as opposed to what we see from Bra, where some of the frags are higher for some players, but even lower for others. So it's interesting to see how the two teams are working together with each other with frags, or in regards to frags, as Kilo now playing a very interesting angle, using his bullet holes. If you aren't aware of why he's just prone, looking into a wall, he's actually looking through the wall using bullet holes in his ACOG. There, you see him right there, to just try to get a angle onto the default plant area in the A bomb site, which is the billiards room, but more importantly into Ogle, which is the staging area of an A bomb site take.
Absolutely. You already see as to what map establishment they want already uh, being pushed on through. The hatch is open on into bathroom. Thumbus will pre-fire over to where Benji is, but no shots will connect. Kind of holding main stairs window there on repel. Pronto will be sitting on in sight. No Pest is going to grab that drone in particular, but he does have one, I believe, that's sitting on over in bathroom. LeBron the IQ pushing quickly on into guitar hallway, checking VIP, seeing as if there's any cams or any traps that are going to stop him on through. As Valkyrie is on the board, but Mozzie, speaking of which, will be injured. I think this will be an easy pickup unless they nade it immediately following again. Shots exchange out. Benji will pick up Yeje, and that's the sledge that will fall. No secondary nades. However, both defenders are one shot. Kilo will fall, and that's not even the defender that they intended to push. It was an excellent angle hold onto Vase. LeBron will pick up one. Anthony will follow as Prompted and Benji fall. It's now a two-body disadvantage for the remaining defenders.
And normally we would say that this is fine, but the time is what goes in the favor of the attack even more so than the man count, because they really don't have enough time or they don't have so little time as they can just play for actually or preventing the plant from going down. They have to play for frags, otherwise they will lose this round. So the attacker's solidly in the advantageous position now, as Flak is going to be scanned out by the Jackal. The Jackal's still on full HP. He's going to have to hide behind the reinforced wall, trying to get some wall bangs, but nothing cheeky enough to get a kill for him, as it is going to be a down onto the IQ. And so it'll be a 2v3 now, as the IQ will probably be very easily picked up at this point. But the HP now slowly edging its way into equilibrium.
Absolutely. Now, the early phases of execution are starting. We do approach the 30 seconds. IQ will get picked up by Anthony, but we see smokes going on out. Thumbus getting ready with his concussions, trying to prevent as much damage as possible, as the secondary beauty will come on out. Now, Smoke the Flak, or Flak the Smoke, rather, still has one of his canisters left. Lemon and him are playing very well together. However, he will be injured. He will pick up Thumbus. That's a Sophia that will fall. Rushing on through, but Bra will close out the round.
Bra securing the 4th round of this matchup. Very well done by them. They were able to play their man advantage and secure it in the end, as they were able to, with the player that was downed earlier, get the frag onto the remaining defenders of Ōkami. Very well done by them, and a very solid execute, as they were able to clear the roamers with enough time to be able to execute the site with enough flexibility to be able to fall back if need be, if the utility from the defenders were too much. But since they had such a solid man advantage, it was pretty much easy for them anyway.
Absolutely. It seemed as if both sides were very orchestrated. They were very almost calibrated at that moment. The 2v, I believe, 2v4 that the Smoke and Valkyrie were in at that time. They were playing together very well, playing very split on ends. It was Smoke, unfortunately, being injured, I think, forcing the push from Valkyrie there to prevent the diffuser from going on down was necessary, but still valiant effort on both teams there, as attackers did a split push. They used as much utility as possible. They weren't over aggressive. It didn't cause them to be reckless in the final stages of that round, and they were able to close it on out.
Yes, and close it out they did indeed. Very well done by them. But now we're going to be looking at a pretty similar line or setup than what we saw last time. We see the rotate hole there in theater towards 90, which is the same thing we saw last time. But what we're seeing now is a little less destruction on the joint site wall, which is something that we did see, I think, more Bra doing, but we did see Ōkami kind of falling into the same pattern of opening up enough of it to be able to use it without necessarily playing bullet holes. They had a lot of punch holes into it. But Prompted now going to be opening up even more of this theater wall, being really aggressive to where he saw the Zofia last time.
Absolutely. Attackers still looking a little scattered. I think they're just getting as much communicated as possible, but Mech's pushing on in through office. Shots will be exchanged. Jackal will take some damage here. Prompted playing. It's a lot of angles being opened up here from theater and VIP into security, kitchen, and office, as hatches are blown. That shotgun's getting put to real good use. Jackal, Ash, and Thatcher are already on the ground level of the map. Drones are going on out to see as to how much establishing they can carry on with what they push.
Yeah, and what we're seeing now is the do or die round really for Ōkami, because if they allow Broad to go 2 rounds up on them, then they'll have a really hard time to fight back, as it was pretty much been back and forth the entire time. Or correction, it's been 2 for Broad, 2 for Ōkami, 2 for Broad. So actually, if we're going to be talking about what has been happening thus far, we will see a Ōkami round, but at the moment it is half a round down, and it's going to be a 5v5. So far a pretty quiet round overall, but things can start in an instant, and I think he almost misses the drone, but it's going to be Flack to catch it. And the grenade coming out from Jay, very well timed, as there was pretty much nothing that Flack could do, and that is the smoke off the board. The brunt of your anti-diffuser utility just gone in an instant.
Absolutely. As we approach the minute mark here, one body being eliminated, and I say that, and IQ will be taken out as well. Thatcher looking here Sledge looking to rotate on out, not fall to the Mozzie as well. The secondary nades going on through. Jay not getting in the second one, but Ash pushing on through. Benji picking up 2, immediately being refragged by Mex. Mex deep in hookah right now. Thumbus watching cool vibes stairs. Mex putting down the diffuser. 2 defenders now currently sitting downstairs. Both possess nitros, as Thumbus will close out the round with a TK.
Yeah, he closed out the round, just not in favor of his team, which is unfortunate, to say the least. I'm sure that is causing a bit of chaos in their communications at the moment, but you can always recover from these things, especially since it is only even round count at this point. It is 4-4, and the pattern still stands 2-2, 2-2, 2-2. So we might see Ōkami win it, and thus continuing the pattern, or we'll see Bruh break it off and put themselves 1 round away from match point. They were put themselves on match point, which is pretty funny, but it is a really big deal, because there is something to be said about the mindset of match point, because it is like a daunting task to overcome this hill that just seems unreachable to achieve. But we aren't there yet, so we will have a few more rounds before we have to deal with that kind of mindset discussion. But we will see the kitchen now being defended, or correction, sorry, double bar, as it was kitchen shown a little earlier in the pick phase, but it has been switched off for double bar, which is really interesting, because thus far we've seen double bar be the most consistent secondary site, as opposed to kitchen, which was only played once.
Absolutely, and it has been won out more often than not. So I do like to see the variety in sites here. I mean, you have your tertiary sites, your secondary sites. You know which ones you are comfortable on, or at least that you have strats designed for. But I mean, honestly, seeing this instead of the same, defaulted kitchen hold is just frankly refreshing, and it does speak volumes as to where the rosters kind of sit comfortably.
Yeah, and as we are going to be nearing 30 seconds into this round, it's just going to be the drone phase extended, which is something that, if you aren't familiar with competitive play, the biggest part of these games are utility or intelligence, two which are separate things, but they go hand in hand very much so, because, for example, Sophia's utility is the stun grenades that go off in the presence of an enemy. So if somebody's close, you know that they're close because the grenades went off a little quicker. So utility and intel go hand in hand, and it really comes down to which team can use it better. At the moment, both teams seem to be using it equally well enough in their respective round wins, as Mech's going to get very aggressive onto the cool vibe stairs within 1 minute, going to be already playing in a position enough to try to contest anybody playing at the bottom of cool vibes, which is normally played by the M590. So I'm interested to see how exactly they go about countering that.
Absolutely. Flack will get the first elimination, and that is Mex no longer in play. That's Jackal. That's Smokes and Trackling now no longer able to be utilized. And that helps constrict positioning of defenders, as even if they're an anchor, you now know as to exactly where they're going to be. That's going to help for if you can't get a drone deep on into sight, because they simply just keep getting shot. And the fact that there is a mute jammers. Anthony going for a very, very deep angle onto Harry Potter there. Kilo still supporting his fellow teammates, watching Black Eye and default cams over sight, and Benji playing it's a hard angle to counter, but at bar.
Yes, and as we enter the last minute of this round, it seems to be a really slow take as prompted, going to heat up the round a little bit as he is able to eliminate Jay from this matchup. That'll be the sledge off the board now. That is frag grenades, which we've seen Jay use very competently as the IQ now trying to open up into office security area. It's going to be 45 seconds left. All to do, the security is going to be barricaded off, so it's probably going to be a blue bar execute at this point. But they probably know exactly where this push is coming from just due to the sound cues. The Valkyrie of Kilo now contesting from Courtyard. It's going to be up to Benji, though, as the first line of defense against this, what might amount to a rush. But with 30 seconds left, they're going to have to do something. Thumbus, rather, getting a pick onto a double as he's getting Kilo and Layman. So, just like that. Man counts even as Benji able to get one on Anthony, though, will be brought into a 3v2. The IQ swings out. Benji says, no, sir, as he is going to go. As a flurry of kills come out, Benji able to secure the round-winning kill. And that'll be a 5-4 split in the favor of Ōkami, which thus continues the round pattern we've seen, excepting the first round, which was won by Ōkami. It has been 2 for Bra, 2 for Ōkami, 2 for Bra, and now 2 for Ōkami. So I expect Bra to win now.
Absolutely good number read there. We do see Benji pick up the Ella. Gersmas have yet to be utilized thus far, as they are very much so a comparable piece of equipment. I say that, and she does get 6-pick to Mira. The Black Mirrors, I don't think have been in play just yet, and that is definitely going to change the whole entire feeling of the round, as how you encounter them, how you push, how you execute. Having a one-sided glass window definitely does play a strong suit, and they opt to go to penthouse and theater, not kitchen, which another surprising factor. But again, it is all up to perspectives as to comfortability, strats, counter stratting, and just overall the play style of a line. Now, standard setup for the attacking operators, same for the defending operators. Mozzie has been a recurring pick, as the Pest are nothing but a huge piece of equipment to prevent drones from calling out positions, watching flank drones, anything of that nature.
Yes, and what we've seen, and you didn't quite touch on it, and I expected you to, just because your analysis has been spot on this entire match, but I'll fill in because you got to leave some stuff for me. I feel like
Absolutely.
I'm not being able to do my job.
No, you're doing great.
So anyway, the reason why we're seeing Penthouse, which is a bit of an uncommon sight now due to just how the meta has shaped up, and it is going to be a very tough site to hold, but with a Mira on the board is pretty much the sole requirement of being able to go to Penthouse, because if you don't have Mira, you are 99.98% guaranteed to lose the site. But with a Mira, you have a little bit more of a chance to win it, but it is still against you. It's going to be now the drones coming out. They know exactly where it is. They know exactly what the setup looks like, and they now know where the dock is. But Kilo, a very competent player, we've seen him be able to get 1 to however many picks just easily. There's going to be Layman now, trying to come up these main stairs, but Thumpus is going to drone him out. They know exactly where he is, but it's going to be a double rotate now, and it's going to have to be met by a double kill as Kilo prompted and Layman going to be off the board. That is 3 very necessary operators to win this, as Benji able to get a really solid pick back onto Mex. Everything has fallen apart, and it's really anybody's game at this point.
Now, if you notice real quick, the Black Mirror is kind of backwards as to what traditionally is placed. It is facing on into theater from Penthouse rather than the other way around. But Benji will wide peek and get LeBron, but a refrag will occur and another one will occur off the bat as Flack will take out Anthony. It is a 1v2. He does have 3 gas canisters in hand. It's able to stop any progression and take as much HP as possible, thus helping his one-on-one engagements, along with now covering his sound as he drops hatch. With 1 minute left, the diffuser is not in the hands of attackers at the current moment. Flack's looking to rotate up Cool Vibe stairs. They're going to be droning on through. And it's going to quickly be demonstrated that he is not in sight, so they're going to hop up onto bed. This is going to prevent shotgunning from underneath and preventing the plant just from sheer firepower itself. 45 seconds left. The diffuser does get planted, and Flack will push up 90.
Yeah, it's been droned out though, and the Zofia right in theater is going to get the frag onto Flak. That'll be Bra winning round 10, meaning we have continued the pattern that has happened since round 2. And I, for one, am very happy just because I like patterns. But that's just me.
Patterns, numbers, and a pencil to go with your notebook.
Yes, very nice pencil. Was it you, I believe, that really liked the sound of my pencil clicking? Of
Yes.
course, we probably
Yes.
sound
Factual.
hilarious to chat at this point as we're talking about my pencil clicking ability.
Well, it's just funny to hear when we're in intermission and like you drop it and all I hear is my pencil.
Yes,
And I'm like, oh
or
yeah,
even
that's
during
the
the
one.
broadcast.
Yes. And
We will be going to Hookah. Tell us a bit about Hookah and what we've seen consistently throughout this match that has left us in a very polar sight, really.
absolutely. Not to reiterate too much information, but let's go off of what we've seen thus far. It's been a lot of expansive map establishment, and what I mean by that is you see bodies on Aqua Valk, you see bodies in VIP. Attackers are who I'm referencing. People still on roof, and one still on hookah balcony. That's 5 split different positions, all orchestrated in a way that they can support one another. I mean, an angle from roof can help your person, entry, secondary support, drone, or whoever it may be, hard breacher, sitting in VIP, looking to make a move. You have the aqua person looking to get rid of any ADSs, trying to see if an execute is fathomable in the current position that you are at. So it's been a lot of individual plays that make teams, put rounds on the board, and the way that it's been fanning out, truly speaks as to the capabilities not only the teams have, but the players have themselves.
I know you said that you only analyze when you're tired, but boy, are you good at it.
Thank you. I'm exhausted.
I think we've been going for, let me see, almost 4 hours now. So a pretty solid broadcast at this point. But there is a match to be played and a team that will be achieving match point with this round win, because a round can't be tied. So it is going to be one of these teams securing themselves one step closer to being able to play in the closed qualifier tournament for Challenger League. Of course, the top 6 teams, I believe. Top 6, maybe top 5. Just due to the fact that some of the teams remained from the last Challenger League season will be playing for a spot. And so the top 5 from the tournament will be playing in Challenger League this season, and Challenger League being a very coveted position, especially this season, where if you win Challenger League, you're automatically, and you don't even have to do the qualifier or the relegation matches, because if you aren't aware, North American Pro League as well as European Pro League will be moving up to 10 teams for season 12. So season 11 is going to be played normally, which we've already seen in Pro League. It is only 8 teams. But at the end of this Challenger League season 11, we will have 2 teams at the top of the leaderboards. We'll be going into Pro League uncontested by anybody.
Absolutely. And I like the processing. I like the updates to how the season and league is just going to play out itself. I also do want to notate, and that not a lot is happening in this last minute, but it's about to kick off as one body will be injured in luggage hallway. Jay will pick up 2 himself with the SMG-11. Zofia will get recovered, but that's 2 bodies lost for defenders as we approach the 40-second mark here. Attackers are looking to try to get early execute going on. Kilo watching over Cool Vibe stairs. First Beauty will go out, but not successfully as Flak does fall and will be injured. It's now a 2v5 in the way of attackers. Mex getting the diffuser put on down, but Lehman will take out Anthony. Flak will be picked up, but not with enough time to stop the diffuser from going on down. Second Beauty will be placed on through. It will be just enough to keep lowering the HP of anyone holding an angle onto the diffuser itself. Now, Mex watching over the rotate between sites. Valkyrie will hop, but be immediately punished as that Lehman will fall. Holding the prone angle, it's going to be a vicious one to compete against. Doc will fall to it as well. Thumbus picking up Kilo. Kilo eliminating Mex, and Thumbus closing out the round.
And I know the chat, being exactly like I am, are very keen to realize that the pattern still continues. But enough with the pattern. I do want to mention how kind it was for both of these teams to play a very slow round until we were done talking about other things, until they got into the execute, because it was perfect. and I love perfection.
Oh, absolutely. I'm like, well, the conversation's over and the push is starting. So, and I do want to notate you with your pattern obsession. It's been even rounds, going back and forth and whatnot. What is this map considered? I think it's sitting at a 48 point something with a 52% attackers v defenders. Is it?
I
So attackers are an advantage, statistically speaking, but it's playing to the pattern of the map overall.
Well, thus far we've only seen him go even, where this mat round rather should go the way of Ōkami, thus completing the circle where the first round was a solo Ōkami round followed by two bro rounds. It'll be two bro rounds followed by one Ōkami round, and thus completing our beautiful pattern, making it just so perfect. But we will have overtime, meaning that the round will have to be, or the pattern will have to be broken. So it's going to be very interesting to see whether or not Brock can close out now and break the pattern, or Ōkami pulling it and sending us into overtime for the second match in a row. And speaking of my pencil, there it goes.
No, get it back.
Oh,
All
look
right.
at Sayano going huge. He got a 49. So that's our observer. If you aren't aware, he is our wonderful observer. He has been carrying this broadcast the entire time. Coastline has a 49% attack with a 50% defensive win rate. Of course, those don't add up to 100, but there are also some decimals that pretty much mean it's 50-50. For all intents and purposes, it's 50-50.
So yeah, living up to the statistics and the percentages that I initially had thought about going into the conversation, and I'm sure some ties in PLCL have adjusted accordingly and have made the proportions proportional. But we do see Lemon falling, as that is the Mozzie. That's going to be a Nitrocell. And, ooh, distraction via drone. Thumbus will pick up Benji. Yajay will pick up Kilo. Another will be injured on through. That's going to be to Zofia. And Ash no longer alive and well. So up to the Mutant Doc. I say that, and Mute will fall. It is all up to Doc going through the rotate hole of security office and will be picked up by Bra.
And that means the pattern is broken. Bruh able to secure this match against the Ōkami lineup, which looked very promising, but Bruh, also a very promising lineup, is able to secure it, meaning that they will take Coastline. And that'll be the last matchup of tonight. And it'll go in the way of Bruh.
I think it was a valiant effort from both teams. We saw shining moments, and I think overall we can credit their extensive effort into playing through and through.
Yes, and at this point we are gonna have to wrap up these matchups. We have had three. The first one was University of Akron versus Red Platoon, and that went in the favor of Akron, 7-2. And the second matchup was between Run It Back versus, I believe it was Revenue, and that went into overtime, and it ended up being 8-6 in the favor of Run It Back. And the last matchup, of course, Ōkami versus Bra, ending in the favor of Bra in a 7-6 scoreline, or 7-5 rather scoreline. Very well done from both of these teams there, and very well done from everybody tonight. I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. And Cash, do you have anything to say?
Thank you for having me. Let's give a huge shout out to Sayano, the broadcaster. Broadcasters do not get a lot of love and appreciation that I believe that they deserve, because they sit here quietly and do a job that I just simply do not have the attention span to do. So huge credit to him. Thank you, Int, for having me, and good luck to all the players, losers, winners. It's all a growing process.
Yes, and one last bit of housekeeping before I let you go. We will be back tomorrow with the Open Qualifiers number 5, Play Day 2. We'll be back at 7 Eastern. We will have a different observer, though. We'll have Ted. But for tonight, Sayano has been such a wonderful help. He is a wonderful observer, and if you ever need an observer, I'm sure he would be very keen for opportunities, just because he's so good. So don't be sad if he lets you down, because he is just that good. Anyway, I am Intrinsic, and I was joined by Cash and Sayano, and I just want to thank everybody for tuning in, and that'll be it for us tonight. We'll see you tomorrow. at 7 o'clock. So I'm gonna see if there's anybody here, and then I might host somebody or not.